Kaela Tucker had shaken the internet in a way few people ever expected. When she stepped forward and broke her silence, it was not just another gossip headline. It was the kind of story that took over every platform at once. You won't believe how quickly things spread. Within minutes, hashtags with her name were trending. YouTube commentators rushed to upload videos, and fan accounts on Instagram began dissecting every sentence she had said. But let me tell you, this did not happen out of nowhere. This was the result of a slow, calculated buildup. And to really understand the chaos that followed, we need to go back to where it all started. Months earlier, things looked calm on the surface. Riley and Kaela still appeared side by side, laughing in pictures, tagging each other, and pretending that everything was normal. But behind the filters and smiles, cracks were beginning to show. Fans who watched closely noticed details that most people would have ignored. A caption here, a story deleted too quickly, a live session where Kayla looked distracted. At first, people brushed it off as nothing. After all, celebrities always have ups and downs, and reality TV stars thrive on drama. Still, the watchers, the ones who follow every move, felt something strange was happening. This is where it gets interesting. Each small action carried a hidden meaning, and slowly the puzzle pieces began to look like something much bigger. The gossip forums were the first to take notice. They started threads with titles like, "What's going on with Riley and Kaela?" and "Candi's strange behavior." Posts filled with speculation piled up quickly, with users claiming they had inside knowledge. Some believed Riley was manipulating the story. Others thought Kayla was being pushed into silence. And then there were those who dragged Candi into the middle, pointing out her subtle shade and side comments. But here's the shocking part. Nobody could agree on what the truth was. Each post, each theory only made the situation more confusing, which in turn made fans hungrier for answers. Kayla, instead of rushing to defend herself, chose a different path. She stayed mostly quiet, but dropped small, intentional hints. Sometimes it was a single emoji. Other times it was a vague caption about truth and betrayal. And when she went live for a few minutes, her tone said more than her words. Destiny took an unexpected turn when fans realized she was preparing for something. They began screenshotting everything she posted, keeping track of her words, waiting for the day she would let it all out. The craziest part was that Riley seemed to react at the same time. Her posts grew defensive, sometimes even desperate. She contradicted herself, saying one thing in one post, then something else weeks later. Fans compared her words side by side and noticed clear differences. This back and forth gave Kayla's silence even more weight. Her quietness was not weakness, it was strategy, and that strategy built suspense like nothing else. Meanwhile, Candi's role became impossible to ignore. She was not the central figure, but her behavior created even more tension. Viewers pointed out her passive-aggressive remarks, the way she sided with Riley in subtle ways, and the strange moments where she seemed cold toward Kayla. What makes this story different is that it wasn't just about two young women clashing. It was about a bigger circle, a family dynamic, and a third person who carried influence. Fans began to wonder if Candi's actions were innocent or if she had motives of her own. Was she protecting Riley? Was she trying to control the narrative? Or was she caught in a storm she could no longer manage? The speculation grew, and the silence from all sides only made it louder. As weeks passed, the theories turned into obsession. Every caption, every comment, and every deleted post was treated like a clue in a mystery. Some fans started creating timelines, piecing together screenshots from both Riley and Kaela, trying to prove who was lying and who was telling the truth. The more they searched, the more contradictions appeared. And here is the shocking part. While all of this was happening, Kaela was still holding back. She had not revealed anything concrete yet, but her subtle hints were enough to keep the audience restless. People began to say it out loud. Something huge was coming. And then came the silence. For days, even weeks, Kaela went quiet. No lives, no cryptic captions, no engagement at all. Fans thought maybe she had changed her mind. Maybe she'd decided to let the whole thing go. But in reality, the silence was part of her plan. When she finally chose to speak, it was not with half-truths or vague words. She came prepared. She had screenshots, evidence, and a voice that shook the entire narrative. This was not the move of someone acting out of emotion. It was the move of someone who had been calculating, waiting for the exact moment when her words would carry the most weight. That moment changed everything. It was no longer about hints, theories, or speculation. It became about proof, about exposing lies, and about reshaping how fans viewed Riley and even Candi. But before diving into what she revealed, it's important to understand how the buildup created the perfect storm. Without the months of tension, the silence, and the whispers, her words would not have hit this hard. And that is why, when Kaela finally spoke, the internet exploded. The firestorm that followed made sure nothing would ever be the same again. When Kaela finally spoke, the impact was immediate and unforgettable. She didn't just share her side of the story, she dismantled Riley's entire version of events piece by piece. You won't believe how shocking it was to see her calmly pull out screenshots, private messages, and conversations that directly contradicted everything Riley had said before. Let me tell you, it was not just another argument. This was a calculated reveal that exposed manipulation, lies, and betrayal right in front of the world. Kaela began with the claims that Riley had twisted conversations. She showed side-by-side comparisons where Riley had told one story publicly, but the real messages told something completely different that were never said, and painted Kaela in a negative light on purpose. Kaela explained that this wasn't a mistake or a misunderstanding. According to her, Riley had done this repeatedly, building a false narrative to make Kaela look bad. And here's the shocking part. When fans matched Kayla's receipts with Riley's old posts, the contradictions were undeniable. Twitter threads blew up instantly, proving Riley's words could not hold up under the weight of the evidence. But the drama didn't stop there. Kaela then turned her attention to Candi, and this part shook everyone even more. For so long, fans had believed Candi's public persona, strong, confident, supportive. But behind the scenes, Kaela described a very different story. She claimed Candi had made strange accusations, stirred tension instead of easing it, and sometimes acted in ways that were totally opposite of her public image. The craziest part was that Kaela insisted these behaviors weren't random. According to her, insiders who were present had shared their accounts, confirming that Candi had added fuel to the fire rather than calming it down. For fans who had admired Candi for years, this revelation hit hard. As the details came out, the internet split into camps. Some people immediately believed Kaela, praising her bravery and pointing to the solid evidence she presented. Others defended Riley, saying the screenshots might be taken out of context or accusing Kaela of exaggeration. And then there were fans who simply couldn't accept the idea of Candi being anything but flawless. What makes this story different is that it didn't stay just about the people involved. It became a cultural debate. Everyone had an opinion, and everyone wanted to prove they were right. Within hours, reaction videos flooded YouTube. TikTok was filled with short clips analyzing every single detail, and Instagram pages turned into investigative accounts. Destiny took an unexpected turn when even influencers and insiders joined the discussion, some claiming they had seen this behavior themselves. Every new voice added a fresh twist to the story, and instead of answers, more questions piled up. Was Kaela still holding back details? Why had she waited this long to speak out? And, most importantly, how would Riley and Candi respond now that the evidence was out for everyone to see? The social media chaos made one thing clear. Kaela had shifted the balance of power. For months, she had been painted as silent, weak, or irrelevant. But now she stood at the center of the conversation. She had receipts, she had confidence, and she had the attention of millions.
Fans who once doubted her were now calling her courageous, while others accused her of being strategic, even manipulative in timing her exposé. Either way, she was no longer ignored. She had forced everyone to pay attention. And here's the part that kept people hooked. Kayla revealed only what she chose to reveal. In her video, she hinted that there were still private conversations and hidden details she wasn't ready to show yet. That single hint created a wave of speculation. If what she had shared already caused this much chaos, what else was she holding back? The suspense grew thicker, and fans began waiting for her next move like they were watching a season finale. By the end of that day, one thing was certain. The controversy had grown far beyond a simple feud. It had become a storm, shaking reputations, friendships, and careers. Riley's credibility was in pieces. Candi's public image was under question. And Kayla, the one who had stayed silent the longest, now controlled the narrative. But here's the shocking part. This story was far from over. The fallout had only just begun, and the next steps would determine whether this was just another viral moment or the start of something much bigger. The moments Kayla's exposé went public, the internet turned into a battlefield. Hashtags linked to the drama started trending within hours. Twitter feeds were overflowing with threads, Instagram pages were flooded with reposts, and TikTok was spinning out countless short clips analyzing every single detail. You won't believe how quickly this grew into something bigger than anyone expected. It was no longer just Kayla versus Riley or Kayla versus Candi. It became a cultural moment where millions of fans around the world joined the conversation. Let me tell you, the reactions came in waves. The first wave was pure support. Dedicated fans who had followed Kayla for years immediately flooded her comments with praise, thanking her for her bravery and calling her a truth teller. They pointed out the strength of her evidence, her calm tone, and the way she presented her case without screaming or